Money's Disadvantage to Society Part 1, An Introduction. Money has been around since 5000 BC, and 700 BC Lydians became the first Western culture to make coins. However, the money we used today doesn't compare to the earliest wealth as it hasn't been globalized. Economists define money as anything commonly accepted by people for the exchange of goods and services. Now look at commonly accepted. Humans accept money, therefore, money has value. But, in reality, money is a piece of paper that is a social construction of culture. But, even if they accept it, it still has no value. All objects on this planet have no value. Well, that might be overstating it, but I guess rarity and demand does have value. For example, limited resources like oil or water is a necessity. Thus, those have values of rarities. All countries have their own unique currency of money, thus, making it quite impossible to stop the social inequalities within society. It's quite difficult to stop people with power, and enforcement of capitalistic indoctrination. Yes, indoctrination, the process of teaching a person or group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. It's an opinion that people need money to survive, it's a fact that money controls society. However, it's a fact that we're too dependent on money to survive. Or you could say the rich or powerful do, but they wouldn't be rich if they didn't have money in the first place. Power was originally deemed by a chosen ruler of either religious faith or political affiliations. Power was deemed by man and man alone. Power was deemed to anyone that has the influence over others, that's power. Money leads to power and power can lead to money, but knowledge can lead to power, and money. I'm not here to enforce beliefs, as these aren't beliefs, they're rationalized thinking or educated opinions mixed with facts. If I wanted to enforce beliefs onto a person, I'll stick to opinionated subject matter like what is right and wrong or what is good and bad. However, I'm quite neutral on opinionated subjects since there is no right or wrong answer, but unknown. Such as whether God exists or doesn't exist. Sure, money is the root to all evils and that is an opinion. But, that isn't really my caring point in the slightest. Money leads to greediness. Items can be used as money as well, but those items have meaning because they are being traded for a reason. Those items are being traded out of necessity, before money was created. Money is a meaningless piece of paper that is used to obtain items of necessity. Why do people need a piece of paper to obtain items they need desperately? How do you get money? A job. Who gives you those jobs? People with money and power give you those jobs. Are jobs unlimited? No. Can society benefit to the maximum? Possibly. The society would have to be completely selfless to the people living in the society where they share the wealth evenly among everyone, and that includes giving everyone a job. But, that reality is among more delusional than me coming up with the idea to get rid of money and transfer hours of work into currency. Time is unlimited. Money can be unlimited, but inflation happens when the creation goes above the limit. Time isn't an object, though. There's a difference between the currency I want to create, and the currency that has been around for centuries. Companies can't use hours of work to control the economy, because those hours are individually earned and aren't even materialistically physical. So, this is how it goes: if humans work their jobs, then the hours they work add up, and the necessities they need can be valued at the price of certain amount of hours that person worked. As long as everyone or most people have a job, then the economy would sustain the population from cheap labor controlled by the elites. Companies therefore, are there to make sure society have resources, not to control the value of those resources, in which drains money off of the poor, while the cheap labor makes the rich richer. Not everyone can have those resources, and who decides that not everyone should have those resources? The powerful and rich decide that. As a majority, we also are to blame for accepting a socially constructed reality that leaves people blind. Also, to get rid of money there must be a world government. as money is now a modernly intentional used invention. The world uses it. Therefore, it'd be a disadvantage for a society not to use it because everyone else uses it. We get our resources around the world. But, good luck getting the US to cooperate. Greediness is what corrupts this world, and money or materialistic objects are what lead to that greedy intent and desire for power. Money leads to the commoditization of everything. Water, air, food, sex, people, living, etc. all have a price and value in the community of economics. Well, really that is a delusion that all those things are worth a piece of paper, but it's gotten to the point that everything has a price tag attached to it. If everyone is connected to money, then how do you expect people to live without money? Money is limited only because the rich and powerful control the wealth within the world. We have enough money for this entire planet to live in paradise. But, if everyone has money, then no one is willing to work, therefore, the rich must contain the poverty within society. But, if you take away money, then people need to earn their living somehow. Working to only benefits society, and living in paradise as long as you work for it should be enough. Of course, to take into consideration that each job has a level of difficulty and that the paradise you live in reflects the job you have. However, everyone's necessities should be met equally. Having your own yacht isn't a necessity, meaning your job must be of high value to society if you wish to own such an item. Our money today is known as fiat money. Fiat is a Latin word that means let it be done. Money has a certain value today because it was given that value by government fiat or decree. It was given value. Just because you give something value does not mean it has value, unless it has some personal value to yourself, making it intrinsic. Total dependence or misuse of money may lead to undesirable or harmful results. These results can be instability, inequality of income, growth of monopolies, overcapitalization, misuse of capital, hoarding, black money, political instability, and moral and social evils. Money's main disadvantage is that its value doesn't remain constant, which creates instability within society. Too much money reduces the value of it and causes inflation, and too little money causes the value to rise and creates deflation. Inflation distorts the pattern of distribution in favor of the rich, thus, it makes the rich richer and the poor poorer. Although, deflation results in unemployment and catastrophe to the working class. Inequalities within society have divided income of money towards a certain race, gender, and culture within the workforce. Males make more than women, and that will always be an undeniable fact, until wages are met with equal distribution. Sadly. However, work should be based on effort, and a job, in which rewards the people doing the job equally. As long as they have the same amount of experience, then they can be compared. More experience equals more rewards of money or whatever currency. Elites and other higher-up officials decide who works, and who doesn't. Canada is fairly decent for preventing workforce discrimination, but not completely out of the park because inequalities still exist even in Canada. The wealth is given among the rich, and the leftovers among the poor. The wealthy decides who gets a job and who doesn't. It's as simplistic as it gets. But, not all companies are like that. Surely unions help stop that discrimination, and maybe wage discrimination from happening. As a society, I do say we are getting better at deciding that work is viewed on experience, not physical appearances or cultural beliefs. Well, Canada that is, and other countries like Netherlands, etc. US, well, that's the modern route of globalization, so I don't need to bother mentioning anything about one of the biggest capitalistic powers. Well, I would say China is the biggest because their labor force is the cheapest and regulations are probably the poorest. The use of money leads to wealth being distributed into a few hands, and this gives the meaning to a monopoly. Growth of monopolies results in the exploitation of the workers, and brings misery and degradation to them. Some societies will overcapitalize their production in certain industries, and this can lead to unemployment. Money, which is the basis of credit, leads to the creation of more and more credit creation. Credit creation, if not matched by the increase in production, results in inflationary rise in the prices. Interesting, credit also leads to unnecessary debt that adds up over time, and forces people into a life of misery because they can't afford the money they owe. That can be from houses, school, etc. In the materialistic world, people give undue importance to money and, instead of utilizing in productive activities, may start hoarding. This would adversely affect the growth of income, output and employment of the economy. Money, due to storability characteristic, is the cause of the evil of black money. It provides people a convenient way to evade taxes by concealing their income. Black money, in turn, encourages black marketing and speculative activities. Wide fluctuations in prices and business activities, caused by money, may lead to political instability. This may result in the change of government. In the modern times, moral values have been sacrificed at the altar of money. People have become so much money-minded that they openly indulge in corrupt practices to satisfy their greed for money. Money is also the root cause of thefts, murders, frauds and other social evils. Wow, that is an interesting perspective. Greed can lead to crime, thus, making it the root to all evils or social evils, which I guess can relate to other illegal activities like prostitution, children and human trafficking, etc.